and marriage go together like a horse and carriage. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other.
Hi YouTube, this is Raven. I'm a survivor of a 16-year marriage to a covert narcissist or someone with a personality disorder. I'm not sure whether he had narcissistic or borderline personality disorder, as he has not been officially diagnosed by a mental health care provider with NPD or BPD. This is just simply my opinion based on a 16-plus year marriage and observation of his behavior. Now, I have a question. In this video, I don't know the answer to this, and that's why I'm asking this question, because I've begun to wonder about this, and I've watched a few videos where people have differing opinions on it. But my question is, do narcissists marry other narcissists? Does a narcissist, when they leave you and the next person they find, do sometimes they find another narcissist? Are they attracted to other narcissists? Or do they accidentally end up in a relationship with a narcissist? Maybe, when they leave you, they're looking for the next best thing and they happen to accidentally end up with a narcissist, or, they're seeking out someone who's like them. The reason I'm asking is that, my narcissist, when he discarded me and the children, it was almost instantly that he had somebody else. And he's been with this person now for about 2.5 years. And it makes me wonder, at first when they got together, I was thinking, oh, this poor woman, she doesn't know what she's getting herself into. And, she doesn't know he's a narcissist. She thinks that he's, this great guy, and how could he have left his wife and children? There must have been something going on. His wife must have been an alcoholic. She must have been abusive, but I'm going to take care of him, and I'm going to be the woman he needed in his life. I mean, that's what went through my mind, thinking that what she's probably thinking, that she's found the love of her life, and she's found such a great guy, and all he needed was, a good woman. And so, I've thought that over the past couple years, and a lot of times, I've seen on other message boards and forums where people are asking, should I warn the other woman? Should I warn, the other person that they're bringing into their lives? And, normally the reaction or the answers is no, you shouldn't, because they're not going to listen to you anyways. And, their opinion of you has been jaded. It's been, they're looking at it through the lens that the narcissist has given them to look through. But I've begun to wonder, because this woman that he's with is doing some things that they seem narcissistic to me. They don't seem like things that an empath would do, or a codependent would do, or someone who's just a nice person who's with someone would do. One of the things that I started to notice was that she would not take care of the kids. Now, I've said in another video that I think when Narc left me, he was looking for somebody who was going to be Michelle Pfeiffer in the bedroom, and Mary Poppins, and, Martha Stewart, in the kitchen. He was looking for, a babysitter, a house cleaner, and a cook, and a hooker. And, I think he thought that he had found that in the woman he's with. But she doesn't watch the children. She doesn't do those traditional things that someone who's in the role of a stepmother would do. For instance, when we first separated, and she moved in with him, very, very quickly, and with her daughter, and moved in. And on Monday mornings, my kids would go to school from Narc's house. They would stay over the weekend, and then Monday mornings he would take them to school. But she wouldn't comb my daughter's hair. So my daughter would go to school looking like Medusa. Her hair was just horrible. It was to the point to where the teachers were going to take up a collection to get her some shampoo and conditioner and hairbrushes to take to his place. But she wouldn't. She would send this child to school looking like this. And I'm like, what kind of mother does that? But, I found out that she was never awake when the kids went to school. She always slept in. She has a child that she has to get ready for school, but she would sleep in because she didn't have to get up as early as Narc was having to get up with the kids. So the kids had to tiptoe around so they didn't wake this woman up or wake her daughter up. And, apparently she doesn't cook. She doesn't clean. You know, she doesn't do kind of the traditional things, you know, that you would think that a stepmother, someone who's going to be a wife, they're not married yet. So that started making me wonder. But some other things is that she's not required to go to any family functions. Now, when I was dating the narc and engaged and finally married, oh, I better be at every single one of his family's functions. It didn't matter what it was, you know. Now, you know, like some things like anniversaries and birthdays, okay, I can see that you bring your girlfriend or your fiance, and then eventually you bring your wife. But oh no, I had to be there. If I wasn't there, oh my God, you're dead to us. You're dead to us. We're dedicating a new bathroom. We just redid our bathroom. It's a celebration. You have to come. You know, I mean, it was things like that. Everything was a celebration. Like, you know, my mother-in-law fixed baked beans one time. That's a celebration. I better be there with bells on. You know, every time she opens up a can of Bush's beans, I better be there. You know, it's not dinner, it's carnival. You know, it's festival. So I always had to be there. Even if I didn't want to be there, you know, I had to be there, you know, and suffer their abuse and their judgmental attitudes. But new woman, no, she didn't have to go. She doesn't have to go to Christmas. She doesn't have to go to Thanksgiving. She does not have to go to birthdays. She doesn't have to go to anything that she doesn't want to go to. So a lot of times it's just narc and the kids that go to these family functions. And yeah, I find that strange. Yeah, I mean, they're not married, but they are living together, and they're kind of making everybody think they're married because he wears a mood ring on his this finger, and he pretends that it's a wedding ring. I'm like, dude, that is a mood ring. You got that out of a machine that you put a quarter in. But you know, some other things is that, you know, a lot of times when he has the kids on the weekends, she does not watch the kids. She goes off and she does her own thing with her daughter and leaves Narc with the kids. And Narc doesn't like that. Narc likes to have other people watch his children. You know, when we were married and I had like Army Reserve weekends, he would pack those kids up, take them to grandma's house, take them to his aunt's house, take them to the cousin's house, anywhere that he did not have to watch his own children. But with her, no, he has to watch his kids. She's not going to do it. But, you know, another thing is that he had a camping trip a few months ago for his birthday. It's my birthday weekend, and I want my children with me, you know, because he had to argue with me. So I'm like, fine, whatever, take the kids, you know, but it is Labor Day weekend, and, you know, this is the third Labor Day weekend in a row that you have not let me have the kids. And he's like, it's my birthday weekend, whatever. So he would have this big camping trip planned for all 5 of them, you know, the girlfriend, her daughter, him, and our kids. And they were going to go camping. Well, they get up there, and they've been there. The kids told me this. They had been there for maybe about an hour. And all of a sudden, girlfriend's like, I'm going home. I'm going home. And so she takes her daughter and the 2 dogs and leaves. And leaves Narc there the rest of the weekend. Now, I don't know if they had an argument or if she just decided, like, screw the camping, I'm going to the Holiday Inn. But whatever it was, the kids said finally that her daughter had a stomach ache or something, and they left. But the kids made out like, you know, they didn't think that the stepdaughter really had a stomach ache. You know, they just didn't want to be there, because the last time they had all went camping on this big family trip into the same location, it rained cats and dogs. There was a hurricane that came through, and it rained and rained and rained and rained, and they got wet. The dogs got all muddy, and they had to drive home in the middle of the night because their campsite was ruined. And then they got stuck on the interstate for 2 hours and didn't get home until midnight. So I'm wondering if she was thinking in her mind, like, yeah, I'm not feeling this camping thing for Labor Day. I'm going home. But, you know, that seems sort of narcissistic to me, that she kind of abandoned him. But I guess, you know, the latest thing now that seems extremely narcissistic to me, that makes me wonder if she's a narcissist instead of, you know, an empath or a codependent, is that my son is going to have surgery next week. It's a minor procedure. It's a minor procedure. This procedure itself only takes about 15 minutes. It's to correct a urinary problem that he's had all his life. But it only takes about 15 minutes. But, you got to be there a couple hours before surgery, to do your pre-op stuff. And then you have to be there an hour or two after surgery, in post-op and recovery. So, this is it's going to take half the day at least. We're probably going to have to be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, my son was on FaceTime with his dad, talking with him about, yeah, I'm going to have surgery, Dad. And he's like, yeah, I know, buddy. And then she just butts in. She butts in like, oh, you're having surgery. You're having surgery. It's okay, buddy. We're going to be there too. I'm going to be there. And your stepsister's going to be there too. I'm like, she's his stepsister all of a sudden? When did y'all get married? But like she said that she's going to come and bring the stepsister, the 12-year-old stepsister. My son's real sister, my daughter, is not even going to be there because it's during a school day. She's going to be at school. But yet this woman who is not his stepmother, she has nothing to do with him when he's there, all of a sudden is going to rush in and play stepmommy at the surgery. That she's going to be there too to make sure you're okay. I'm an angel of mercy. Oh my God. I was like, no, like this woman is not going to be there. And if she is going to be there, she's not going to go back to the pre-surgery area and hell to the no if she's going to be there in the post-surgical area pretending to be his mother. He has a mother. It's me. I'm his mother. But, I think that maybe this was probably not Narc's idea. Because, they only let a couple people into the pre-surgical area and the post-surgical area. And my mother's going to be there that day. And I'm like, I don't know if Narc wants my mother and his girlfriend in the same waiting area for a couple hours together. Because my mom will have some stories. My mom will have no problem talking to girlfriend. So, she may not show up. But it just seems extremely narcissistic. That you're just going to step in and be stepmommy, that it's almost like, look at me, I'm so wonderful, I'm such a great stepmother, I care so much for that boy. Like, no, you don't. Like, I think that she's probably part of the reason why Narc doesn't want his kids around all the time. But, because he said in some paperwork that we had to do when he was being diagnosed with autism, he had to write a couple sentences about his son, and the couple sentences he said was, my son disrupts the family unit. Every time he's with the family unit and his step family, he disrupts his step family. I mean, it was almost like, we don't want him in the family at all. But I've started to wonder if maybe Narc has been with her longer than just the 2 years. That possibly, they were dating before we split up because she works at the same workplace. That they work at the same workplace. And, I figured out that he might have been cheating on me. He did have the opportunity, and I didn't realize it until now because I was very naive Raven 3 or 4 years ago. Now I'm suspicious Raven. But he worked from home. But 1 or 2 days a week, he would go into work. But he didn't go into work to work a full 8-hour day. He would get dressed. He would put on a very nice outfit. He would put on cologne. I mean, he shaved. He made sure he looked good. And I thought he was doing it to look good for his boss. But then he had to drive the 20 minutes to get to work. Once you get to work, you have to go through security. You have to park in the parking deck. Then it's another 15 minutes or so to walk from the parking deck to get up to to go through security again, get to his desk, turn on his desk, turn on his computer at his desk, get settled or whatever. So he would leave about 7:45 in the morning, and by 10 o'clock, he's home. I mean, yeah, and this, took just the process of going to work and coming home from work would take 45 minutes to an hour. And so he was only gone a couple hours and some change. And then he would get home. And I used to think like, oh, he hates going into work so much because he loves to be around his family. And that's why, he only goes in for a couple hours. But he's dressing up because he wants to look good for the boss because he's trying to get promoted. Bullshit. I'm sorry. I call bullshit on this now because I had one of those aha moments. I'm like, I know what he was doing. He was getting dressed up and he was going and either having breakfast with this woman, or he's going to a hotel and he's screwing this woman. Whatever it was, he was doing in those 2 hours, it wasn't work. I guarantee you it was not work. And I think he was probably with her. And it makes me wonder, if she is narcissistic, because, she knew. I'm sure that she knew he was married and had a family. But anyways, that's kind of jumping off the train track here a little bit with that. But it just makes me wonder, sometimes do narcissists end up with other narcissists? And if they do, how long does a relationship like that last? How long can a relationship where you have two people who are pretending to be something else, how long can that last? Or, maybe they're two peas in a pod and two narcissists just love each other. I don't know. But that's the question. I just wanted to kind of ask if do narcissists sometimes end up with other narcissists, and how does that play out? Hi YouTube. I thought I was done with this video. Apparently I'm not. I filmed it a few days ago and I hadn't had a chance to put it up on YouTube yet, and I'm glad because some stuff happened, I guess, to not really illustrate my point, or to answer my question whether narcs marry narcs. But I've figured out that this girl that he's with, this woman, is obviously as big a drama queen as he is. This would be one for the Narcs Are Ridiculous series, but I'm going to tag it onto this video. So last night, the kids and I and my parents and my brother, we all went out to dinner because, today is Mother's Day. So we went out to dinner, and while we're at dinner, my daughter gets a text on her phone from the new woman. And I'm going to call her Doohickey because I'm not going to tell the new woman's name, and in other videos I've called her Doohickey. So Doohickey texted the kids, but she texted them on his phone because it came in, from their dad. The text message read, it says, I'm having to remember it because I don't have my daughter's phone right now. And the text message says, "Kids, this is Miss Doohickey. Your father was in an accident today and is in the hospital. I tried to call earlier, but no one answered." So my daughter gets this text message like, "Oh, Dad's in the hospital." And so she hands me the phone. Now, let's stop and think for a minute. If you get a text message and it says that someone you know was in an accident and they are in the hospital, and the fact that, they're in the hospital and they're not texting, someone else is texting on their phone. So-and-so was in an accident, they're in the hospital. Stop for a minute and think. What comes to your mind? Someone was in an accident and they are in the hospital. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what went through my mind. When someone's in an accident, oh my God, they were in a very bad car accident. So bad that they have been admitted to the hospital, and they're so sick that they can't text. Because, I've had patients before, I go in, it's like, "Hi, Mr. So-and-so, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate your pain? 1 being hardly any pain at all, 10 being the worst pain ever." And they're sitting there on their phone, "Oh, it's a 10. Like, really, it's a 10? Because, you're on YouTube right now. you're playing Angry Birds. You're Facebooking. It's really a 10? Yep, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 pain." So for someone to not have their phone, it's like, oh my God, they're intubated, they're in ICU, they're at death's door. So I get the phone and I'm like, hold on. I text back, "This is Raven. My daughter showed me this text message. What hospital is he in? Do you want me to bring the children to see him?" About 20 minutes goes by, no answer. So the kids are sitting there thinking their dad has been in a horrible accident, something's wrong, whatever. We finally get a text message back. "They're checking his vitals right now. I guess he can call them once they're done with that." Make sure that they answer the phone. So he FaceTimes them, and he's happy. He's just like, "Hi, kids. I was in an accident today." And, my daughter's like, "Were you in a car accident? What's wrong?" "Oh, no, a chainsaw got away from me." Okay, this idiot. He was, I think he was probably with his moron friend. I've called him his a-hole friend in the past. And, you know, they were probably drinking. I don't know, but they probably were, because he likes to use alcohol with power tools. And more than likely, you know, they were pretending to be lumberjacks, and this chainsaw got away from him and it cut his leg. And he showed the kids a picture. I mean, the kids are trying to eat dinner. We're at a restaurant, and he texts them a picture of his bloody leg, that it looks like he, you know, I was looking at the wound, and it looks like it cut down through the dermis into the subcutaneous layers, the fat. And it did hit a bone, because he showed them an x-ray where there's a little chip missing or whatever. But he was happy because he was enjoying all the attention he was getting from all the doctors and the nurses, and, you know, obviously the attention he's getting from the kids, freaking out that, oh my God, dad's in the hospital, he's at death's door. And he's like, yeah, it got away from me, ha ha ha, yeah. And he's just kind of laughing it off or whatever. And so the kids get off, and apparently he only stayed in the emergency room for about 6 hours. Now that's a short emergency stay, you know, because I'm going to be an emergency room nurse. I'm like, 6 hours, that's like nothing. I mean, that's like drive-through service in the emergency room. So he only spent 6 hours and then went home. So it obviously wasn't that bad of a cut, you know, where they could, you know, sew it up and, you know, clean it up, sew it up, you know, send him on his way. But this woman is such a drama queen. She's as much a drama queen as he is, because, you know, she said, your father's been in an accident. He's in the hospital. You know, the text message should have said, your father is an idiot. He was pretending to be a lumberjack and ended up cutting his leg. You know, it's a good thing that they didn't run his blood alcohol level, because it would show that he had probably been drinking six beers before he decided to pretend to be a lumberjack with a chainsaw. Anyways, so I think this woman is just as much of a drama queen as he is. Don't know if she's a narc, but she's definitely a drama queen. All right, that's all for now. Finally, be vigilant, be safe, take care.